Chamber of Commerce introduces its new executive director. President of Parliament says it is a good opportunity for us to reflect on this parliamentary year. And the COO at PJIA remembers the damage left after Hurricane Irma and Maria in 2017. Those are the headlines from Monday, September the 7th, 2020. Good evening, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you this evening, so let's get started. In our first story, the Princess Juliana International Airport, which was badly damaged in Hurricanes Irma and Maria, is currently preparing for the reconstruction of the Terminal Building Works Package 2. SXM Daily News spoke to the Chief Operations Officer at the airport, Mr. Michel Hyman, about the damage that was done by the hurricanes of 2017.
In terms of the damages that was done as a result of Hurricane Irma, we had the 4 main doors of the terminal building that was actually blown in. The roof, we sustained about 80% of the roof was severely damaged. Luckily, it's only that portion of the roof over our IT room remained. The water that came with the strong winds and everything also seeped into the building and seeped from the top floor down to the bottom floor, as well all the way down to the basement. That in itself got into a number of the equipment that we had installed in the building that waterlogged and even damaged those systems. Yes, you know, to some people the building stood firm, but the damage was more extensively inside that, you know, people that pass by on a daily basis could not have seen. But we sustained severe damages to the building in the interior part of it.
The operations after the hurricane, getting back up to be able to receive passengers. Talk to us about that and what a challenge that was.
Well, now reminiscing on that part, it was really a challenge because, like I said, besides the building, we had a number of our infrastructure that was damaged, the perimeter fence, the other remote buildings that our team operates from and also our stakeholders operate out of were also damaged. We had shortly after the hurricane, we had a few weeks where the military was actually was housed at the airport, and we were then basically left with about a week and a half to get the airport back up and running by October 10th of 2017. That in itself took a lot of heads knocking together to basically, you know, get the work going and also to bring the airport back to an acceptable level so that planes can land, to make sure it's safe and secure as well. We created what we called a makeshift departure hall. It was right under the baggage makeup area. We were very creative in making sure, you know, the required security processes are in place to ensure the safety and security of our traveling public. We also use one of the current building of the FBO building as our arrival hall, where passengers, you know, on arriving, they had to go on the big or large tents to be processed and then go through that building in order to meet their loved ones or family on the outside. Right after that, in 2018, the first quarter, we then went into the pavilions. The pavilions were some larger tents that was air conditioned, and you know, they were tents, but we called it pavilions as to take away that stigma out of the people's mind that you're under a tent. And we got a number of positive feedbacks about it, to be quite honest with you, because it had all the necessary amenities in it: restroom, ATM machine, concessionaires that offer the various services, etc. And then from there, later in the year, we moved back into the building in 2018, December of 2018. basically in the current footprint that we are operating from, which is just about 1/3 of the building's footprint. So that's more or less to summarize in short what we went through after the hurricane.
Meanwhile, Project Director for the Project Management Unit at the Princess Juliana International Airport, Mr. Mirto Bril, spoke to our newsroom about the reconstruction of the terminal building works package number 2.
Well, package 1 is what Mr. Hyman described as the footprint that we're working out of the terminal right now. That takes up just the ground floor. About half of the ground floor is being used as our current operation. We have substantial damages throughout the remaining of the terminal, which is considered package 2. Package 2 is now where we're going to get back to pre-Irma condition. We'll be cleaning up the check-in area, all of the departure hall, as well as the floors above, as well as the basement. We need to get the airlines back into the terminal as well. Here's where we have the World Bank is now assisting us with that construction by financing the project. As you know, the financing is 50%, $50 million from the EIB, $50 million from the World Bank is being financed, as well as the airport is putting in a substantial amount, $7 million as well. That project, we expect the documents to go out at the end of this month, with the intention of the construction starting next year in April. So the whole process, the tender process, will be from September to April of next year. Well, before we can go into package 2, we need to make sure that we can decontaminate the terminal. So the mold remediation is just removing all of the remaining mold within the building. We're going to be removing some of the structures that are no longer going to be part of the design. There's quite some corroded metals and broken glass, floors that need to be removed. So that's going to be removed as well as decontaminated. All of that is going to be handed over to a waste disposal contractor, whose job is it to remove all of that material off the island. The intention is that nothing would be ending up in our landfill. So we're being very green on this whole project, that we want to make sure that we do not contaminate the landfill anymore. The mold remediation as well as the waste disposal, we've received the bids in. We're doing the evaluation at this point. And we expect to award, hopefully at the end of this month. Beginning of October is when we expect the contractors to start. And that project should be completed by the end of January 2021.
And SXM Daily News will have more with the airport's management and the director of the NRPB this week in our daily newscast. And in some sad news to report, the island is mourning the loss of one of our trailblazers, businessman, entrepreneur, and former chairman of the Princess Juliana International Airport, as well as board of the harbor, Mr. Michel Hodges. Michel Hodges passed away suddenly last week. I had the pleasure and opportunity of interviewing Michel Hodges some time back, and here is an excerpt of that radio interview.
We ended up with it. Eventually, the band changed after me.
But you would, when you played in it, who were the band members when you played in it?
Myself, Dolphus, Tony, Jan, Bernard. Let me see. Myself, Dolphus, Jan, Tony, Bernard, Benedict. 6 of us. Yeah. Benedict, yeah, yes. Okay. It was good. I used to sing like hell. I used to play the rhythm guitar. Tony used to play the lead guitar. And
who taught you to play the guitar?
I'm one of those musicians that learn from the air, so to speak, as opposed to my son, who learned everything on the internet in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We just learned it. Actually, no, I'll go back a little further. When I first started playing the box guitar with our little, it was called a Teenage Combo, myself, Jan Bourgeon, and all of us. We had a band called a Teenage Combo.
Teenage Combo.
Yeah, they had this guy came from Curacao, Spanish guitar guy. He taught myself and Jan Bourgeon how to start to play.
Okay.
I think my first song was My Bunny Lies Over the Ocean.
I remember that song.
I never forget that one. Yeah, and you know, like I played many years in the Rolling Stones, and like I said again, this was one of the good days. Just enjoy seeing the people dance. That used to like energize the battery, really. It was fun. I mean, we didn't make too much money, but as compared to today, but we had fun.
Yeah,
we had fun.
And that's important.
Yes.
That's important. It's not all about money all the time.
Yeah, I think the Sunday afternoons, the Flying Dutchman, you know what the Flying Dutchman was in the back there? Those were great days.
In the back of Riston.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, those were great
Trident is there now, but yeah.
SXM Daily News wishes to extend its heartfelt sympathies to the relatives and friends who are left to mourn. And still to come, President of Parliament says it is a good opportunity for us to reflect on this parliamentary year. And we'll have the details of that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we continue now with more news, at the closing of the 2019-2020 parliamentary year, which was held this morning, September the 7th, 2020, President of Parliament, the Honorable Rolando Bryson, said that it is a good opportunity for us to reflect on this parliamentary year and what it has meant for all of us. Mr. Bryson further expounded. We also heard the address by Member of Parliament for the United Democrats, Mrs. Sarah Westcott-Williams, Member of Parliament for the PFP, the Honorable Melissa Gomes, and Member of Parliament for the U.S. Party, the Honorable Claudius Buncamper.
Required in order for Parliament to open the new parliamentary year 2020-2021 tomorrow on September 8th, 2020, as prescribed by Article 46 of the Constitution. With the closure of this parliamentary year, it is a good opportunity for us all to reflect on this parliamentary year and what it has meant for all of us. It is with this in mind that I will give the faction leaders of the various factions represented within Parliament the opportunity to direct themselves to one another as well as the public for a maximum of 10 minutes so that they can give a review of the parliamentary year. The sequence in which the faction leaders will speak has been predetermined in the faction leaders meeting of August 24 by ballot. The order will be first MP Sarah Westcott-Williams of the United Democrats, followed by Melissa Gomes from the Party for Progress, Claudius Buncamper of the United St. Martin Party, Grisha Heilige Martin of the United People's Party, and William Marlin of the National Alliance. With that, I now give the floor to the first speaker today, the faction leader of the United Democrats, Ms. Sarah Westcott-Williams.
Mr. Chairman, standing still would cause us to look at the meaning of today. And as I have stated with so many things regarding our governance, parliamentary operations, you name it, it is part of the constitutional legacy that we have inherited. It is part of the colonial legacy that we have inherited. This is not meant in any bitter way, but just matter of factly that what we're doing here today is something that we have agreed to be part of and actually is copied from the bigger country, the older country in this kingdom, namely the Netherlands. And so, like the other countries, not only within the kingdom, but also outside, our term as a parliament too is divided in annual sittings.
Mr. Chairman, we're here today after a turbulent 7 months with our young country slammed by its second major crisis in 3 years. Our economy, not yet recovered from Hurricanes Irma and Maria, is now buckling under COVID-related blows. This struggle is made more difficult by the fact that we're now 6 months on from the 1st of March and have yet to receive concrete, tangible, and sustainable solutions from this government. I want to stress on the word sustainable and its importance as we continue to push through this crisis. Sustainability means meeting our own needs without making it difficult or impossible for future generations to meet theirs. When we talk about economic development, environmental protection, social systems, healthcare, housing, pension funds, and government assets, we cannot continue to talk about and treat these areas as though the world is ending and we're the last generation to need them. It's clear that we are not, so why do we often behave as though we are?
Today, as I look back at the last 7 months of this parliamentary year, I can say that I believe we have started with a closing that would set an extraordinary tone for this era, or perhaps eras. The era of not wanting to cross party lines, even when doing so, is in the greater interest of the country. The era in which many still have to let go of the concept of party or self above country and embrace the concept of country above self. The era in which many still have to let go the thought that a member of parliament chooses to give quorum so a meeting can proceed rather than focus on personal agendas, because you realize that your job as a parliamentarian is to work for the people, not yourself. This year for me as a newcomer was very enjoyable because I learned so much. I learned particularly about the constitutional foundation on which the country is built and the constraints within which the country is required to operate.
And SXM Daily News will have more of the closing of the parliamentary year 2019-2020 in tomorrow's edition of SXM Daily News. Now, turning to our weather forecast for September the 7th, 2020. Tropical Depression number 17 developed into Tropical Storm Paulette at 11 a.m. at about 1,375 miles east of St. Martin. Its maximum sustained winds are 40 miles per hour, and its current path takes the system north of the island towards the end of the week. As of 11 a.m., Tropical Depression number 18 was located about 2,405 miles east-southeast of St. Martin. Its maximum sustained winds remain at 35 miles per hour, and its current path takes the system well north of St. Martin early next week. The Meteorological Department of St. Martin will continue to monitor these systems and update the public accordingly. So the outlook through Wednesday midday, partly cloudy with isolated showers possible. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Chamber of Commerce introduces its new executive director. And we'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we continue now with more news, the new executive director at the St. Martin Chamber of Commerce and Industry is Mr. Jude Houston, who was introduced to the media on Monday morning. Mr. Houston told reporters that his first order of business would be to assist businesses on the island and to engage them as much as they possibly can.
What we have noticed is that the business, for example, in our data that we have collected thus far, we have noticed that there have been somewhat of almost 50% decline, increase, sorry, 50% increase in the number of new startup businesses for 2020 compared to the same period of 2019. So for example, in 2019, January to July, we have had something like 600 new startups, and for the same period of 2020, we've seen a little over 300. So that's an indication as to the whole economic developments within the business community.
One would want to believe that the negative impact that COVID has been having on businesses, you're saying that there is an increase in business development by 50%?
No, I'm saying that what we have noticed is that the COVID is indeed having an impact, a negative impact on the business community. That's why you're seeing such a decline in the number of new registrants. Okay. That's an indication as to the sort of impact it's having on the business community. And probably there are more indicators out there. For example, if we consult with the government, probably you may see the drop in probably the TOT payments and so forth. So yes, we do foresee a negative impact for the year 2020. We foresee some form of contraction. However, from the Chamber's perspective, we are trying our best to see how we can assist businesses and engage them as much as we possibly can. That is the reason why you see, I have with me this morning Ms. Bryson as the new Business Development Officer, is because we are within the Chamber at this time, we have decided, you know what, we are going to see how we can strengthen the level of services that we give to the business community. Yes, indeed, the core of the Chamber is to maintain that registry of businesses. However, we are going to take it upon ourselves to improve that level of services and see as to what it is that we can do as a chamber to ensure the growth and development of our business community.
And still to come, Suchi extends emergency food package distribution. And I'll have the details of that story when SXM Daily News returns. Welcome back, viewers. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, the St. Martin Sue Chi Foundation has extended its emergency food package distribution by 1 week to make it possible for more persons in the community who are in need of immediate assistance to obtain much-needed food items to help tide them through these tough times. The distribution will continue until Sunday, September 13th, 2020. Persons who are in need of an emergency food package can contact the St. Martin Sue Chi Foundation located opposite Cake House Supermarket on the L.B. Scott Road between the hours of 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. during the course of this week and sign up to receive a food package on the spot. One package will be given per family in need. Persons who have already received food packages are urged not to sign up again, as the remaining emergency packages are for families who have not yet received. Sue Chi has stepped up its efforts to assist the needy in the community with emergency food packages since March during the start of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, which left many persons jobless and many others with reduced income. In an effort to continue assisting the needy, Sue Chi began providing short-term relief for 3 months for 200 families. Due to the restriction associated with COVID-19, Sue Chi volunteers have been executing the food packages distribution exercises according to regulations set by authorities. To avoid large crowds, recipients are given specific dates and times to collect their food packages, taking into consideration social distancing and sanitization guidelines and face mask requirements. Hand sanitizers and, if needed, masks are provided for safety. Cheng, the director of Tzu Chi Foundation, quoted the words of Tzu Chi founder Master Cheng Yen, who said, "With good intentions come blessings. With the will comes the strength." The release reads in part. And with that, viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for joining me. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.